Hey guys, Narc Armor here, back with another one. Guys, I had it on my heart to talk to you today about the narcissist and how they do not respect the sanctity of marriage. And in fact, I would go so far as to say that they view the marriage union as a ploy for the entitlement to use and manipulate and exploit a partner, an unsuspecting partner, to their ways of abuse. Now, before we get into it, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Please leave your comments down below. Love to hear them and love to respond to them. So, the narcissist's approach to marriage is one oriented to what's in it for them. They want certain things. And dependent upon the type of narcissist we're talking about, right, whether they're covert, grandiose, malignant, generally speaking, they all still are fairly egotistical and prefer the nicer things in life and to have kind of an image of superiority, right? And how they carry themselves and how they, showcase what they have to the outside world. To the outside world, they want to look like they're married, they're legit, they maybe have kids. They look like they have and maintain a solid and sound family unit. So the level of quote unquote normalcy that they have in their life would not lead anybody to suspect all of the other sinister things that are happening behind the scenes and behind closed doors in terms of how they treat their spouse. Doesn't matter the gender, because narcissists come in all shapes. And so what's important to highlight is that behind closed doors, the rhetoric of, demeaning the other individual, right, berating the other individual, you know, overall treatment is one that of an abuser, one of someone who wants to maintain control over another person. One might even go so far as to say that the way that the narcissist attempts to control and manipulate their target victim, in this case we're talking about a marriage situation, they almost want to enslave that individual to do their bid and call on anything that it is that they want. That's generally how the situation is constructed and how the narcissist positions it so that they can ultimately maintain the puppet master strings that they want to maintain on their quote unquote partner in a marital situation. So the sanctity of the marriage, while to the outside world appears to be intact, couldn't actually be any further from the truth. These individuals are and tend to gravitate highly towards abusive behaviors inclusive of triangulation. And I think what's particularly telling about it is the sadistic nature at which they want to triangulate their, again, quote unquote, marital partner with other people who are outside of the marriage that, that they are effectively cheating with on their partner, on their unsuspecting partners. And so, you have a situation where the overall con artistry is what I think is at the time of discovery and at the time of kind of stringing together the series of events, um, you realize that this is really a situation whereby you had various levels of baiting to get you pulled into this situation. And on a recent video, I talked a little bit about, things like, uh, cultural norms. So, for example, in some cultures, it may be customary to get married, more quickly than others, or to do the, formal engagement more quickly than others, and things of that nature, right? So, um, for a narcissist, this is really a very um, it's a very good thing for them in the way of accelerating the entrapment, right? So in hindsight, um, I definitely would have, hit the brakes on it, right? But it's hindsight, right? But it gives you a pause to want to advise others and younger folks and things that you really have to vet the individual, and it's worth the additional time. And if they're not interested in the additional time it takes to validate who they are and vice versa, well, then I would tell you, you might be dealing with a narcissist and it's best to walk away, because you should never succumb to that undue pressure. It's not warranted. As they say, what's for you is for you, and it won't miss you. So I would encourage anyone, especially if you ever get back into the dating pool or whatnot, make sure that you're just taking your time with things, and that you understand that it's important to apply the learnings coming out of a toxic abusive entanglement to ensure that, one, you don't repeat the same mistakes, two, that you maintain and establish those very strong boundaries. That's why we coin it narc armor, right? We get those boundaries established. And three, that once we're going to have that recipe for how we're going to move and get to know others, um, then you can make hopefully the right decision. If you're given that opportunity to do that, right? So, in a nutshell, guys, the exploitation of marriage and some of the things that go into that are really conducive for how narcissists can get away with a lot of things. Um, and you know, the reality is, it it's not you. It never was. It could have been anybody. If they get married to them, the reality is it's going to end up the same way. Because they're going to get bored. They're going to this, that, and the other. They're going to have all these feelings, and and then they're going to go through the discard, the devaluation and the discard phase, and that's just how these toxic individuals are programmed. And one of my early videos, I talked about that. I talked about kind of how they're programmed, and their program repeats, literally like a program on a computer repeats and repeats and repeats. And and so that's why you hear these stories about when a narcissist cycles somebody and they go to another source of supply. It's the same thing, but it's actually usually worse because it's faster. So that person ends up, their next target ends up getting, potentially worse abuse um, in a tighter time frame than say you did or even a predecessor. Because the reality also is that while we were a victim of the narcissist, trust and believe there were victims before us, there'll be victims after us, right? So, um, keep that in focus as well. As long as these people are out running game in the streets, there's going to be a lot of this sort of thing going on. Um, and so appreciate, the again the comments, the likes, the shares, the subscribes. Keep it coming, guys. Love to hear from you. Hope this one resonated, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Have a good one.